Are you tired of not getting the respect you think you deserve in your marriage? Do you think that if your spouse would just respect you, then everything would be a whole lot better? Or are you married to someone who says these things and you feel stuck and overwhelmed, like you just have no voice? If any of these things connect for you, join me and let's talk about some surprising realities about respect and how to increase it in your marriage. Hey, I'm Julia Woods, and I am a transformational coach helping couples create the marriages that they long for. And I am excited to share with you talk about this topic of respect. It comes up often as I coach couples, and they wonder, why am I not getting the respect I deserve? Or how do we grow respect? Because neither of us feel respected. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I want to start by just sharing with you some of my experience. I grew up in a home where respect was demanded. Respect was demanded by my father, from my mother, and my mother demanded respect from us as well as my father did. And so what does respect even mean? What is it? And when we talk about not getting respect, what are we actually trying to communicate? So the actual definition, according to Webster, is that respect is a deep feeling of admiration, which is elicited by one's abilities or qualities or achievements. So the truth is that respect is something that you gain. Respect is something that is developed in how you show up in the world. Respect comes from the people that I most respect. This is one of the things I would encourage you to consider is, who do you most respect in your life? And one of the things I began to discover is the people that I most respected were the people who were least likely the ones I thought I would respect. Like, they weren't the people who I thought in my mind, oh, I should respect them. No, they were the people who I often thought, man, I respect them, and I don't even know where this came from, almost, right? Like, they didn't have the titles. They didn't have the big fancy house. They didn't have all the money. They were just ordinary people who had shown up in deep, significant ways with me. They were people who'd been willing to be in the messy with me, to show up when life was hard, to show up when life was difficult. They were people who had been a safe place for me to go to with my fears and my doubts and my insecurities. I found them to be non-judgmental, and they never criticized me. They just showed up in life with me and helped me see how to live life, how to be the person that I wanted to be by watching them. I saw that they lived life honestly. And they lived in the reality of life, that life wasn't a fairy tale, that life wasn't supposed to look a certain way. It just looked the way it looked for them, and they showed up in how life was and what life was giving them, and found a way to be in it and let it grow their character and let it develop who they were as a human being. And those in my life that demanded respect, I actually began to discover that created the most disrespect. Like, the people who demanded I respect them were the ones I respected the least. And so what I began to discover is that when you show up in life, when you live honestly, when you live in integrity, when you live in transparency and vulnerability, that's what actually grows respect. And so I started looking a little more deeply, and I just want to share some of the things that, as you listen, might be helpful for you to have some curiosity and to investigate and discover more about respect in your life. So some of the common ways, like if you want to look at, does my spouse respect me or not? Well, some of the signs of disrespect are that you disregard someone's feelings, someone's thoughts, someone's needs, and the boundaries that they set. Those are signs of disrespect. When you feel belittled by them or embarrassed to be human, embarrassed for the true expression of life, that you have fears and you have doubts and you have insecurities, you feel embarrassed to share those things with them, it might be a sign that they disrespect you. Obviously, if they use derogatory language and tones, if they interrupt you, if they talk over you, if they ignore you, these are signs of disrespect. So, do you see your spouse doing those things to you? I invite you to get curious. The first place I invite you to get curious is, if I'm feeling this from my spouse, how might they be mirroring back to me the disrespect I'm offering them? Like, how might if I feel my children and my spouse are disrespecting me, what if it's a mirror reflecting back to me my levels of disrespect towards them? That really began to show up with my children. I began to discover that I kept telling my kids, "You're not respecting me. You're not respecting me." And then when I discovered that life is actually like a mirror, disrespect is actually like a mirror, I began to look at how I might be disrespecting my children. And wow, I began to experience a whole lot of how I talked down to them, how I acted like I knew more than they did. And rather than getting curious with them about what was going on for them, what did they want? What did they need? What did they care about in the matter? And man, I began to learn a lot about myself and a lot about respect. I invite you, if you're feeling disrespected by your spouse, invite a conversation like, "Hey, I've noticed that I'm feeling disrespected by you, and I'm wondering if you can help me understand what's going on for you. Like, are you feeling disrespected by me? And if so, how? Like, what am I doing that's communicating disrespect to you?" This can open up powerful shifts in your relationship if you're willing to get curious about how what you're experiencing might actually be what they're experiencing. And if you're wondering, like, how do I show respect? Or maybe how does my spouse respect me in ways I've never considered? Well, some signs of respect are active listening, like you actually feel heard and you feel seen, that this person is honoring your boundaries, that they're openly and honestly communicating with you their fears and their doubts and their insecurities and their loneliness, what they're sad about, like they're real with you, that they value your feelings and your interests, that you speak kindly to each other, that you build each other up. I invite you to look at yourself. How are you doing those things? Where are you missing it in those areas? And if you were communicating in disrespectful ways, would you want to know? Would you be willing to get feedback? When I began to discover that respect is like a mirror, revealing the level of respect I'm offering to others, it radically changed my relationships. I began to see that respect is like the law of sowing and reaping, that the more I began to sow respect, the more I began to reap respect back. And if you don't like the level of respect you're getting, start by looking at you. Right? It's that old adage of, when I'm saying you're not respecting me, the reality is I have fingers pointing back, more fingers pointing back at me. And what if you start there and look at what you're offering? Because I can tell you from my own experience, it began to change every relationship that I had in my life, and began to deepen the connection, and began to deepen the intimacy, and deepen the respect. And the people that I love the most, I'm growing more and more in respect with them. I'm respecting them a ton more because I'm a whole lot more curious. I'm a whole lot more interested in what they think and feel and what's going on for them. And in turn, I'm finding their respect for me is greatly increasing. If you enjoyed this episode, will you share in the comments below one thing that you're taking away or one action step that you're committed to take? And if you found value here, would you give it a thumbs up and share it with someone that you know that you think might enjoy it? And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. So if you want to go deeper and you want to increase your ability to grow respect and be respected, I've got some options for you in the show notes below that will be a huge resource. The first one I encourage you to do is join me in the Marriage Growth Community. In the community, we are working together to become life-giving communicators in our marriage so we can create the marriage that we long for. And I will be in there coaching you, walking you step by step. There'll be lessons for you to learn through and a community that can support you. So thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you the next time.